45 degrees below zero. Your Gore-Tex jacket, useless in 6 hours. Frostbite starts in 5 minutes. Hypothermia in 30. You're dead by sunrise. That's the math of the Arctic Circle. Now cut to this. Inside a structure made entirely of snow, the thermometer reads 15 degrees Celsius. A man removes his parka. He's sweating. There's no fire, no batteries, no wood. Just walls made of the exact material that's killing everyone outside. You're looking at a 4,000-year-old thermodynamic machine that operates on principles modern engineers still don't teach in university. This is the engineering of the snow house, and by the end, you'll understand why the Inuit could sleep naked while Vikings froze to death 500 miles away. But first, we need to kill a myth. Snow is not ice. If you build with ice, you die. Here's why. Ice is a crystalline solid. Thermal conductivity, 2.2 watts per meter Kelvin. That's similar to concrete, which means ice conducts heat away from your body almost as fast as stone. Build an ice fort, and you're sleeping in a meat locker. Snow is different. Snow is a composite foam. Thermal conductivity, 0.05 to 0.15. That's better than fiberglass insulation. Better than what's in your walls right now. The secret? Snow is 90% trapped air, 10% water crystals. It's natural aerogel, the same material NASA uses on Mars rovers to insulate against 300-degree temperature swings. Each snowflake creates microscopic air pockets. Air doesn't conduct heat. Air is one of nature's perfect insulators. But not all snow works. You need pukak, that's the Inuit word for aged, recrystallized snow, the kind with specific grain structure. Fresh powder, too fragile. It collapses. Old, compacted snow that's gone through freeze-thaw cycles. That's your construction material. Now here's the nightmare. If your insulation is too good, body heat melts the inner wall. Water drips onto your clothes. Wet fabric loses 90% of its insulation value. You freeze in your sleep wearing your own survival gear. So the Inuit needed to solve an impossible equation. Keep it warm enough to be shirtless, but cold enough that the structure doesn't commit suicide by melting itself to death. Which brings us to the shape, because if you stack snow blocks like bricks, the roof collapses and buries you alive. Traditional masonry works in horizontal layers. Problem? The top layer of a dome has nothing to lean on until you close the final gap at the peak. You need scaffolding, you need internal support. The Inuit had neither. Their solution? The spiral. One continuous rising curve that starts at ground level and corkscrews upward until it closes at the apex. Each block is cut at a 15-degree inward lean. It's locked in place by the block behind it and the block below it. The structure is self-supporting from block number 1. You're not building a wall, you're carving a spring from solid snow. But the genius isn't the spiral. The genius is the shape that spiral creates. Everyone calls it an igloo dome. Wrong. It's a catenary arch. A catenary is the curve a hanging chain makes under gravity. It's the shape of pure tension. Now flip that chain upside down, and you get pure compression. Every molecule of snow in a catenary arch is being squeezed, not pulled. No tension, no shear forces, no weak points. This is the same principle that holds up the Gateway Arch in Street Louis. The same math that keeps ancient Roman aqueducts standing 2,000 years later. And the Inuit discovered it without calculus. Load capacity? A well-built igloo can support a 450-kilogram polar bear standing on top. The weight distributes so evenly through the curve that the structure gets stronger under load. But now comes the witchcraft. Step 1. You light a small fire inside, not for warmth, for chemistry. The interior wall begins to melt. The surface turns to slush. Temperature at the inner face hits 0 degrees Celsius. Step 2. You open the door. Outside air at negative 40 degrees rushes in and flash freezes that wet layer in under 60 seconds. The slush crystallizes into solid ice. What you've created is a composite material. The inner shell is now ice-hard, structural, load-bearing. The outer layer is still snow-soft, insulating, thermally resistant. You've built a prehistoric carbon fiber sandwich, ice for strength, snow for R value. Final specs, wall thickness, 30 to 45 centimeters. R value after glazing, R20 to R30. That's comparable to a modern double-pane window. But here's the kicker. This composite structure only works because of what they do with the floor. Heat doesn't spread evenly. It stratifies. It rises. Always. Inside an igloo, you don't have one temperature. You have a gradient. Floor level, negative 30 degrees Celsius. The sleeping platform, elevated 60 centimeters. -5. The ceiling, +15. Your feet are in a freezer. Your head is in a heated room. Same structure, same air, different altitudes. This is thermal stratification, and it's the entire reason you can sleep naked. But it only works if you engineer the entrance correctly. Rule: the entrance tunnel must be dug below the sleeping floor, not level with it, below it. Here's why. Cold air is denser than warm air. When you open that entrance, outside air at -40 pours in like water. And just like water, it flows to the lowest point and stops. It gets physically trapped in that entrance pit. It cannot rise past the floor level because warm air above it is acting like a lid. You've created a gravity-powered one-way valve. Cold flows in, but it can't flow up. The sleeping platform stays warm because the cold air is quarantined below you. But now you've created a new problem. You're sealed inside an airtight, insulated box, breathing. 8 hours of sleep, 4 people, no ventilation. 2 build-up reaches lethal concentrations. Vikings in their turf longhouses, they woke up with splitting headaches from oxygen deprivation. Sometimes they didn't wake up at all. The Inuit solution? A fist-sized hole at the apex of the dome. That's it. Warm air is lighter than cold air. It rises to the ceiling and escapes through that hole. When warm air exits, atmospheric pressure pulls fresh air in through the entrance tunnel to replace it. You've created a passive convection loop. Air flows in at the bottom, heats up, rises, exits at the top. No fans, no electricity. Just Bernoulli's principle discovered 4,000 years before Bernoulli wrote the equations. It's a passive HVAC system running on body heat and physics. And the math? A human body at rest generates 100 watts of heat. A family of 4 generates 400 watts. That's equivalent to 4 incandescent light bulbs. With proper insulation and thermal stratification, that's enough to create a 15-degree microclimate at head level while the walls stay frozen solid. You are the furnace. The Igloo is the machine that captures your waste heat and puts it exactly where you need it. So why did the Vikings fail? Same time period, same latitude, same Arctic resources. The Greenland Norse arrived in 985 AD. They built European-style longhouses, stone foundations, turf walls, driftwood frames. They tried to import their civilization into a place that didn't have the materials to support it. And they tried to resist the cold. Massive fires burning day and night. They were burning driftwood and imported timber just to maintain livable temperatures. Energy cost: 12 hours a day gathering fuel to stay warm. Then, the Little Ice Age hit around 1300 AD. Global temperatures dropped 2 degrees Celsius. Doesn't sound like much, but in the Arctic, that's the difference between survival and extinction. By 1450, every Norse settlement in Greenland was abandoned. Archaeologists found bodies frozen inside collapsed houses. They found the skeletal remains of people who starved because they spent all their energy trying to stay warm instead of hunting. Meanwhile, Inuit populations expanded during the same period. They moved into the territories the Vikings abandoned. They thrived during the same climate catastrophe that wiped out a European colony. The difference? The Vikings saw cold as an enemy to defeat. The Inuit saw it as a material to engineer with. One culture imported solutions. The other culture became the solution. Adaptation beats resistance, every single time. Today, Navy SEALs still learn this. British SAS Arctic training includes igloo construction. Emergency shelter protocols in Antarctica use the same Catenary dome principle. Because the physics haven't changed. Thermodynamics doesn't care about your technology level. We think technology is microchips and satellites. But real technology? It's knowing that the thing trying to kill you can also keep you alive if you understand its physics. 4,000 years ago, someone looked at frozen death and saw trapped air, saw dead weight and saw compression, saw lethality and built a bedroom. That's engineering, not in spite of nature, because of it.